Hello students and learners, welcome to the Brainbox tutorials. I am your teacher Priyanka and today we will solve section B of specimen question paper of English literature I.C.S.E 10 for 2023. So let us start with section B. This is from The Merchant of Venice play by William Shakespeare. There will be two extracts. So question number 2 and 3 are from Merchant of Venice. So starting with question number 2. Read the extract given below and answer the questions that follow, and it is Shylock's speech to bait fish withal. If it will feed nothing else, it will feed my revenge. This is from Act 3, Scene 1. And let us start with the questions. Number 1 is, who is he? So he is Antonio. See, here it is written, he hath disgraced me. So Shylock is saying about Antonio. So who is he? He is Antonio. What does Shylock want from him? Shylock wants a pound of flesh from Antonio in terms of bond. And what does Shylock mean by to bait fish withal, which is the first line of the extract? So you will write that when Salario expressed the hope that even if Antonio is unable to repay Shylock's loan, he will not demand Antonio's flesh in terms of bond, because it will be of no use to Shylock. To this, Shylock replies that he will bait the fish with Antonio's flesh. That is, he will use his flesh as food for fish. If it serves no other purpose, it will satisfy his revenge at least. So this you are going to mention. Now number 2. Question number 2 is, explain in your own words any 3 ways in which he had wronged Shylock. So here it is written that he had hindered me $500,000, laughed at my losses, mocked at my gains, scorned my nation, thwarted my bargains, cooled my friends, heated mine enemies. But how will you write it in your own words? You will write, according to Shylock's speech, Antonio has insulted Shylock many times and has an attitude of contempt towards Jewish race. He has often enjoyed at Shylock's losses and has ridiculed him and reduced his friends too. Now coming to number 3. According to Shylock, in what ways did Jews resemble Christians? So Shylock says that Jews are also as human as Christians. Jews also have eyes, hands, organs, bodily forms, same senses, likes and passions. They also eat the same food, hurt with the same weapons, affected by same diseases, healed by the same medicines. They also feel the change in seasons and all those things which he has said in his extract. Now next question is, how does Shylock use Christian example to justify his desire for revenge? So Shylock, while explaining the way Jews resemble Christians, he also says that if a Jew wrongs a Christian, then Christian takes revenge. So if a Christian wrongs a Jew, then Jew's reaction, according to Christian's example, should be same, that is to take revenge. Furthermore, he will take revenge better than a Christian. Now number 5. The given extract reveals 2 distinct emotions that Shylock experiences. What are they? Give one reason to justify each of these emotions. So Shylock is very hurt and he is also revengeful. So these are the 2 emotions, and then you will have to justify by giving examples. So you will write that the way he gives examples to explain how Jews are also as human as Christians, still they are insulted. It shows that he is hurt and he is feeling sad. And when he says that he will bait fish with Antonio's flesh, if it does nothing good, at least it will feed his revenge. That shows his revengeful emotion. Now coming to question number 3. This is also from Merchant of Venice. This is Portia's speech from Act 4, Scene 1, when he says about mercy, the mercy speech. The quality of mercy is not strained, it droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven. Now starting with the questions, subpart 1, where does this scene take place? So this scene takes place in the courtroom in Venice. Why is Portia here? Portia is here in the disguise of a lawyer, Balthazar, to fight the case in favor of Antonio. And why does Bassanio not recognize her? Bassanio does not recognize her as she is in disguise of a man, a lawyer named Balthazar. Now coming to number 2, To what is mercy compared in these lines? Why is mercy said to be twice blessed? So mercy is compared to the gentle drops of rain that falls on earth from sky, and mercy is said to be twice blessed. It blesses the person who shows mercy as he is morally elevated, and mercy also blesses the person to whom it is shown. Now number 3, explain the lines, "'Tis mightiest in the mightiest, it becomes the throned monarch better than his crown." So here Portia says that mercy is the worthiest virtue of the most powerful person. Mercy in the heart of a king is better suited than the crown on his head. Now number 4, later in her speech, Portia mentions a scepter. What is a scepter? How, according to Portia, is mercy above the sceptered sway? So scepter is the royal wand in the hands of a monarch. According to Portia, scepter is the emblem of his worldly power, reminding people of the respect due to law and majesty. But mercy is the noble quality coming from the very heart of a king. It is a tribute to Almighty God, and justice becomes divine when it is mingled with mercy. That is why mercy is far above the earthly power of scepter. Now number 5, to whom are these words addressed? So these words are addressed to Shylock. What does the person say in response to Portia's words? Portia is seen as the dramatic heroine of the play. Using references from the text, mention any 2 aspects of her character that appeal to you most. So first of all, the answer to the response of Shylock to Portia's words. Shylock replies that he only demands the penalty allowed by the law, that is a pound of Antonio's flesh he wants. He says that he takes the responsibility for his own acts. He says my deeds upon my head. So that is, he takes the responsibility for his own acts. He does not want to show any mercy on Antonio. And then about Portia, that what are the 2 aspects of character that appeal to you most? So Portia's high honorable principles, has her elevated sense of religion, and her intellectual powers. These are all displayed here. The way she explains that the importance of mercy in everyone's heart should be there. Then the way she explains that even we are not shown strict judgment by God, God shows mercy all the time. These are some of the examples which justifies these qualities of Portia's character. Okay, now coming to section C, it is from prose short stories. So starting with question number 4, read the extract from Ray Bradbury's short story All Summer in a Day given below, and answer the questions that follow. Okay, the girl standing in the open held out her hand. "Oh, look, look," she said, trembling. They came slowly to look at her open palm. In the center of it, cupped and huge, was a single raindrop. So this is after the sun has appeared and the children were enjoying. And then the girl saw one single raindrop and they knew that now sun was retreating. So that part. So now coming to questions. Question number 1, how old were they? So they were all 9-year-old boys and girls. Where were they living? They were living in planet Venus. What had they been doing until the girl called their attention to the raindrop? So they were running among the trees, playing hide and seek, and they were laughing and enjoying in the sunshine. Now number 2, mention any 3 ways in which their lives on this planet differed from life on Earth. So, see, on Earth every day sun rises and sets, but in Venus sun rises every 7 years for a day. And it has been raining for 7 years in Venus, but on Earth all seasons come periodically. Then due to the impact of rain, 1,000 forests had been crushed and many more had grown 1,000 times in Venus. Whereas on Earth, we see all types of natural resources and infrastructure too. Now number 3, why does the girl begin to cry when she looks at the raindrop? So when the girl looked at the raindrop, she wailed, she cried, because it meant that it was the time for the sun to retreat. The long awaited moment came to an end very soon. Now, next is question number 4. Describe the dramatic change in the weather immediately after the raindrop fell. So, after the sun retreated, it faded behind the mist and few cold drops fell on the children's faces. A cold wind blew around them, the sky darkened into midnight in a flash. A boom of thunder startled the children, and like leaves before a new hurricane, they also trembled upon each other and ran. Number 5 is, what feelings do they experience at the end of the story, and what had they done earlier that made them feel this way? So what is the feeling they were experiencing? That was guilt. So at the end of the story, the children were filled with guilt. And what had they done? So they were feeling guilty because they had put Margaret inside a closet in a room earlier. Now as Margaret missed the sun, they also felt ashamed of their action and realized how much Margaret sacrificed when she moved from Earth to Venus. They did not understand her depression under which she was living on Venus. It was not until they spent time in the sun that they realized their mistake. So this is question number 4. Now question number 5. This is from The Little Match Girl, and answer the questions given below. So the little girl walked about the street on her naked foot, which were red and blue with cold. In her old apron she carried a great many matches, and she had a packet of them in her hand as well. Okay. Now question is, number 1. Who was she? What can you conclude about her condition from the above description? So who was she? She was a little poor girl, the protagonist of the story, The Little Match Girl. And about her condition, so the little girl was out of her house without enough warm clothes to protect her from biting chilling wind and driving snow. She was barefoot and bareheaded. She had lost her slippers also, and so she had to walk bare feet, which ultimately became red and blue with cold. She belonged to a poor family, otherwise no one had dared to come out of their houses in such a harsh and cold wintry night. Now question number 2, what time of the year was it? Why did she not want to go home? So what time? It was New Year's Eve, that is the last evening of the year. And why didn't she want to go home? There were 2 reasons. So she could not go home because of 2 reasons. First was her father would beat her if she would come home without selling any matchstick. And furthermore, her house was also not comfortable. In the name of the house, she had a roof through which wind passes, and cracks had been stuffed with straw and rags. Number 3, what did she use the matches for? What happened when she lit the first match? So she lighted matchsticks by rubbing it against the wall to warm her up. When the girl struck first match, it spluttered and burnt, and it was so amazing that she had her first vision. She felt as if she was sitting in front of a great iron stove with shining brass knobs and a brass cover. The fire burned beautifully and gave out lovely warmth, but soon the flame went out and the vision also disappeared. Now number 4, whom did she love dearly? She loved her late grandmother dearly. What did she say when this person appeared before her? So when the girl saw her grandmother's image in front of her, from whom she got immense affection, she did not want to lose her again. So she cried and pleaded her grandmother to take her with her. And she says that, I know you will disappear when the match is burnt out. So she starts lighting all the matchsticks. Number 5, what happened to the little girl at the end of the story? So the little girl died due to cold and hunger at the end of the story. Would you consider this a happy ending or a sad one? Give one reason for your answer. Now this is a tricky one. Like if anyone writes that it is a sad ending, he or she is also correct. And if you write that it was a happy ending, that would also be correct. So I think that this is a happy ending. And now what reason I will give that? Because in the end the girl was free from all the difficulties and troubles of life, and she got association of that person whom she loved the most, that is her grandmother. And it was not that she wanted to take her own life, although she had a very troubled life, that she was poor, so she was struggling with poverty, she had cruel father. Still she fought till the end, but got solace only after death. So I would consider it as a happy ending, but if anyone writes this as a sad one, so he will also be correct. Now coming to section D, poetry part, question number 6. This is from Abou Ben Adhem. Abou Ben Adhem, may his tribe increase, awoke one night from a deep dream of peace. Okay. So question number 1. What did Abou Ben Adhem see when woke from a deep sleep one night? So he saw an angel writing something in a book of gold in Abou Ben Adhem's room. Now number 2, what did Abou Ben Adhem ask the angel and what was angel's response? So Abou asked the angel or presence in his room that what he was writing in the golden book, and the vision raised its head to answer that he was writing in his book the names of those who loved the Lord. Number 3, what did Abou request the angel to do when he learned that his name did not appear among the names of those who loved the Lord? So Abou did not get disheartened after knowing that his name was not written on that list. He instead made a polite request to the angel to write his name as the one who loves his fellow men. Now, next part of third question is, what does this reveal to us of Abou Ben Adhem's character? So this shows that Abou Ben Adhem was a pure and simple man who lived on humanistic ideals. He was a positive man. He is the epitome of the idea that when you love your fellow man, you become worthy to be blessed by God. Question number 4 is, when and how did the angel appear to Abou Ben Adhem again? So angel appeared for the second time to Abou's room the next night. This time he came with a great awakening light. Here great awakening light implies an extremely powerful and luminous light capable of awakening the world. And the next part is, what did the angel show above this time? So the angel showed above the names of those people who have been blessed with the love of God. And Abou is visibly surprised to see his name on top of the list. Now number 5. What does the poet mean by may his tribe increase? Why do you think he says this? So may his tribe increase is used as parenthesis here. It basically implies a wish for the growth of people like Abou Ben Adhem in the world, and also growth of the followers who follow the path shown by him. And the poet says this as a wish and pray for Abou Ben Adhem. And the next part of this question is, what is the central message of the poem? So the central message of the poem is that true love for God lies in the spirit of selfless service of humankind. The poem is a celebration of humanistic ideals. The poem brings out the message that love for one's fellow man matters greatly. Those who love their fellow man actually love God. Now coming to question number 7. This is from 9 gold medals and the banner above and 9 smiling faces said more than words ever will, said more than these words ever will. Okay, now question number 1 here is, what was special about the athletes who were participating in this sports meet? So the athletes in this poem are disabled people who are participating in the Special Olympics. And what special quality of their does the poem celebrate? So the poem celebrates their special quality of sportsmanship, genuine act of empathy and display of human compassion. Number 2, which race was the highlight of the day? So the final race of the Special Olympics, that is the 100-meter dash, was the most prestigious event or the highlight of the day. Next part is, what was the signal that the athletes waited for? The athletes waited for the signal given by pistol shot to start running. And last part is, how many athletes participated in this race? So 9 differently abled athletes were competing for this race. Number 3 is, how does the poet describe the state of mind of the athletes as they lined up for the race? And who won the race? So for the first part, you will write that each of the 9 athletes had put in a lot of their time in preparation and training. Each of them had trained themselves for many months for the final event to win gold, silver or bronze. All were determined to win. All 9 of them, now the next question, that is who won the race, for that we will write all 9 of them won the race and each of them was awarded a gold medal. And a bit of explanation also would be needed, that it so happened that one runner fell while running, and eight of the other runners stopped, brought that runner to his feet, and walked hand in hand to the finish line together. Now number 4, if you had to give this poem an alternate title, what would you call it? Give reasons for your answer. There could be anything related to compassion or sportsmanship, or you can simply give a title named The Truly Special Olympics. So although it was called Special Olympics because differently abled athletes participated, but it came out to be Truly Special Olympics by the special act of compassion and empathy shown by other 8 runners. So a truly special Olympics. Now number 5, give a brief account of what happened after the youngest athlete fell to the ground. So while running in the 100-meter race, that is the youngest runner, suddenly stumbled and fell down. He was extremely sad and dejected. The other 8 athletes stopped running, turned around to help the one who had fallen. Then they all joined hands and started walking rather than running to the finish line, and they reached the finish line together. And now next part is, why do you think the author used the word strange to describe the behavior of the athletes? So the poet calls it strange because such incidents of athlete falling down happen sometimes, but the other runners never stop, because all have prepared so hard to win medal, and whoever is the quickest to reach the finish line becomes a winner. However, here, although all have prepared so hard for months for this event, they all displayed the sportsmanship and compassion and stopped for the fallen athlete. So here we have finished all the questions of section B as well. The specimen question paper of English literature seems very easy to me. The questions are very direct, and from Merchant of Venice, all the important extracts are given. The mercy speech of Portia, that is very important. Then the next part, the to bait fish withal, that extract is also very important. So the specimen question paper has been set very properly, to the point. All the important parts are there. If this type of questions comes in board exam, then I hope you will be able to score very well.